khususnya Menteri KSU, KPT, kerana membantu menyelenggarakan majlis yang permai pada petang ini. Seperti yang disebut oleh Syukri, ini adalah acara pertama saya mengadakan dialog langsung ini Anwar dengan mahasiswa dari IPTA. Now, thank you very much. I do appreciate the reception, the enthusiasm of young students, and I intend to be very brief to allow for establish some of the profound arguments, particularly in our very challenging times. This morning I called for a special session of Parliament. The special session is to deliberate precisely the issue of the unilateral decision by President Donald Trump of the United States of America, the unilateral decision to impose tariffs that will certainly adversely affect the position of many emerging economies, including many of you here. But our decision in Malaysia and ASEAN in particular is to engage. It's not to be combative. No point in reacting hostile in a hostile manner, but to engage, have the discussions, and explain our turf. We have already participated in the multilateral trade arrangements. You know the history prior to WTO or GATT and now WTO, and that is a multilateral arrangement where you can ensure some manner of order, rule-based trading system that would ensure some form of justice, consideration. And I think we'll pursue that. We have sent ministers to negotiate with the Trade Commerce Department, and we have to continue to evaluate. There's no finality. As you know, things are still fluid. President Trump has given a 90-day reprieve. Malaysia is a trading nation. We trade with countries in ASEAN, with the United States, with China, and many countries in the world. Our investments from the United States is still number one. Cumulatively, is the highest trading partner. China is becoming a very important player now, and reliable, good neighbor. ASEAN have agreed to enhance our intra-ASEAN trade. Okay, that was discussed this morning, and members of Parliament are still continuing their debate. But I cannot reject this wonderful opportunity. So between members of Parliament speaking, I've chosen to hear the students today. Now, why do we place such importance to the younger generation? Because the type of training, the expertise, the capacity to affect change, the willingness to adopt some new disciplines, we have to depend on you. You can't expect people in my generation to be as fast, to assimilate and acquire, and that level of acquisition of knowledge and expertise, particularly the new sciences, new disciplines. We have what we call digitalization, artificial intelligence. Now we are talking about energy transition, which we're not talking about in the last many decades. Now, so we have to depend on you. That's why MSU, many of the private institutions, are considered by us in the government as part of our team to give the opportunity and instill the sort of discipline and scholarship among the students. It's our expectation. So acquisition of knowledge is a must. When asked, why are you here? To acquire knowledge. assimilation of knowledge, to learn new sciences, new disciplines, new expertise, to go back and serve. And there comes the fundamental issue that we have to address. One, assimilation of knowledge, acquisition of knowledge, which is critical for your future, your family, your society, your country. But for what? Why do one wish to acquire knowledge? This must be reflected very seriously. And I want to appeal to you, my children, to understand and appreciate this. Acquisition of knowledge to be comfortable in life is not the end. Why do you want to acquire and assimilate knowledge and the sciences? Is to disseminate what is just and what is truth. That is the major challenge. So, notwithstanding the sciences, in the Madani framework, we talk about values, we talk about ethics, we talk about human dignity, we talk about our role to ensure that we have a fair, a just society. And that is the role of the youth. And I think, and this is not new. From the days of Greek philosophy to our sages, religion, Islam, and I believe what is being encouraged in other religions too, is actually to build, to ensure that men and women are people of character, dignity. There is a deficit now because people talk about what is the world, what's happening to the world. We call it post-normal times. What is post-normal times? It's a world of chaos, of contradictions. Some people talk about post-truth. Truth is relative. Justice is relative. You can kill some community and support the other community. You can support some rogues, some dictators, and defend it and rationalize your actions. So that is precisely the reason why we go back to the basics, the fundamental issue of why are you here? Yes, acquisition and assimilation of knowledge, but remember, you are not a sacred cow. You are human beings with values and ethics. I use the term sacred cow because this was a brilliant thesis written by Ivan Illich about the difference between education, just purely the acquisition of knowledge, devoid of ethics, morality. We are not training machines. We are training human beings. And therefore, I would like to appeal to you, youth, young ones. At times, your parents or your grandparents probably remember the people, the elders, etc., etc. It's fair. That's not the issue. But never lose sight of the fundamental values. And this is where I believe that ethics and religion remains to be relevant. I'm not suggesting that you discard or ignore the importance of leaders, be it political leaders or your professors. No. But you must also understand that there is a trust deficit during post-normal times, there's a trust deficit. Young, bright students start questioning, why have we lost value? Why is it that we tend to be racist? Why do we decide and talk about differences, preach hatred, insult people of other faith based on color or belief? Beliefs and countries, but what you want, you want your institution, you want your to succeed, that we must as a team, irrespective of where you come from or what color you're from. You agree with me on that? Yeah. So let me then end with that. Now, so that you are free to ask any question, and I'll try and answer that. Okay, please. No protocol, no need to say, Right Honorable Prime Minister, no. You want to call me Uncle Anwar? Okay. All right. Yes. Ada mic kan? Ada mic kan? Right? No question. Thank you very much. Yes.
Good afternoon.
Okay. Yes.
Good afternoon, Your Honourable Rasmi. My name is Joanne. I'm the President of Student Representative Council of MSU. Rasmi, your journey from student leader to national leadership is really inspired me. So I want to say thank you for your presence on our campus today. So, young people nowadays, especially from private institutions, often feel left out of national decision making. So my question is, how can we, as a student from private institution, play a role in shaping Malaysia's future? And also, what is the action that government will take to involve all the voices of young people in the process?
Okay, Joanne, why don't you suggest what should we do? Joanne, this is a very relevant question. Number one, she said, I was a student leader in Malaysia. Yes, I do believe it. Because when I was young, I was student leader, I said we must represent the conscience of the majority. We must fight for justice and truth. We must condemn corruption and abuse of power. That was when I was young. Now, the next question from Joanne said, what should the government do? I'm saying, so why don't you give me a suggestion? I tell you, Joanne, if it's a brilliant suggestion, I'll put it on record and I will implement it immediately. Yes. What do you think I should do, or the government should do, or what else to bring you into the mainstream discussions, whatever? Yes.
Because I'm one of the members of NBK currently, represent the IPTS. So maybe we can strengthen our voices in NBK also, because as for now, it's not all the members of IPTS is involved in NBK.
Yes. Not Ministry of Education. They will take action so that they can accommodate the IPTS have been left out. Point number one, agreed. Okay. Other questions? Yes, belakang, ya. Behind, yes. Yeah.
Hello?
Yes.
Yang amat berhormat Datuk Sri. I'm Vishnu from University International. Today I have a question regarding the tariffs. So, as you know,
tariff?
Yeah.
You ask President Trump, why ask me?
It's a fair move, but Datuk Sri, I would like to ask, from a student coming from B40 background, as a student leader and also as a youth representing this nation, how it's gonna impact us with these tariffs? And boleh ke saya bahasa Melayu sikit?
Boleh.
Okey, antara
boleh kunyo.
Sebagai cadangan untuk tarif ni, apa kata syarikat-syarikat di Malaysia boleh join venture dengan company-company di US sebagai langkah kita award tarif ni, if it can be implemented? Itu satu. Yang kedua, apa kata kita gunakan tarif ni sebagai peluang untuk menggunakan barang buatan Malaysia, semangat menggunakan barang buatan Malaysia. Itu sahaja.
Good question, Vishnu. Nombor Dandri. Now, you see, an economic political philosopher, Schumpeter, he traced the experience of countries during tribulations or economic crisis. And he used this phrase, gale of creative destruction. A period when there were issues, problems, world wars, deflation, or now tariff. So you either become pessimistic or virtually helpless, or you create something new. There's somewhat the old order seemingly destroyed or half destroyed or crack. That's why I say gain of creative destruction. Use destruction to be more creative. Now you suggested something smart. What? Then try and use our local expertise. Okay. President Trump said no solar energy to be exported to America because there are Chinese companies based here. But there are other companies. So that's why our instruction is all schools, universities, hospitals use Malaysian-made solar panels. That's one, which means we can therefore probably mitigate partly the potential problem that we may face. That's what I mean by creative destruction. And then, of course, buy local products as fast as possible. You know, I think the question whether you have impact or not is too early to say, because President Trump gave a 90-day reprieve. And what is our largest export to the United States? Semiconductor, chips, E&E, very large. 60% of our products, 140, 130 billion ringgit, exported to the United States. Now, if they decide to say no, nothing from Malaysia, we may have a problem. But for now, semiconductor, E&E is excluded. Now, say if it is partly included, then we have to take measures how to then promote here. And what we did in the last 2 years since I took over as Prime Minister, in the last 2.5 years, is to open up new markets. I mean, traveling, we open up new markets other than India, China, Korea, Japan, increase trade within ASEAN, increase our relations with other countries. In, for example, Egypt, somewhat new. In the last 2 years, we increased trade investment by 34%. It was a huge country. At the end of the month of May, ASEAN, here in Kuala Lumpur, we will organize a conference, all leaders of ASEAN, with the GCC countries. Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, Kuwait, Oman. You see? And plus China. This is a special session. We've been engaging with the United States. We are now fast-tracking the agreement, FTA, Free Trade Agreement, with EU, European Union. From last month, we managed to export our palm oil and their products to UK with no tariff, because we have signed FTA with the United Kingdom. President Xi Jinping was here last 2 weeks, and we have serious discussions. We had about 36 or 38 new arrangements, MOUs signed from all areas and fields. So we have to be fast, quick, efficient, and smart. We tap the best brains and deal with this issue. I agree with you. We should not. Yes, do we anticipate some problems? Yes. The IMF World Growth Outlook for the last month has been quite concerning, because all countries, including the United States, will have a downward growth trajectory. So it may impact Malaysia a little. But then we should drive. That's what I use the term domestic economic resilience. Our guys have to work hard. You want to survive? You want to go never a nation, or what is your choice? Your choice to survive, we have to work harder. From the Prime Minister to the ministers, to the rector, the Vice Chancellor, to the officers and the students. We work hard and we challenge any attempt to disrupt them. And when we do that continuously, I think we may be able to survive. But otherwise, domestic policy is important. what we have done. I mean, I started with this issue of governance, tata kelola, good governance. I know some people hate it, but we don't have a choice. Malaysia is not a poor country, but you know, billions of us squandered. If you want to become rich, become a prime minister. Yeah. You want to be a billionaire, be a finance minister. But this is wrong. You see? Why do I choose, at least now, 2.5 years, not to take a salary as the Prime Minister? I do take a salary as a Member of Parliament. I mean, just to give a message, convey a message. Not every Prime Minister or leader must squander wealth and cheat and become super rich because of that position. We must stop this nonsense and we must give a clear message. And follow proper tender procedures. And well, is it necessarily popular? No. Because sometimes you take action, those are also billionaires. They will use your resources to go and attack you. They use the social media, they use parties, they use NGOs, they use civil society to abuse and attack you. You must have this courage of conviction and tenacity of purpose and belief in what you are doing, and inshallah you will succeed. Alright? Now next question. Yeah. Yes, yes. No, sorry. The next, yes, yes. Yes. Belakang, yeah. With the big beard, yes.
Let us please.
Ya, boleh. Mana? Jangan ada mic. Okey, jalan. Yes.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera dan salam Malaysia Madani. Nama diberi Ahmad Izhad Hamzin bin Fazal Anwar. Saya merupakan tahun 2 kejuruteraan Petroleum dan saya mewakili Presiden Student Representative Council Universiti Teknologi Petronas UTP. Jadi Datuk Seri, saya telah mengikuti perjalanan Datuk Seri daripada kecil. Dan saya lihat Datuk Seri banyak telah berinteraksi rapat dengan banyak tokoh-tokoh moden Islam seperti Dr. Ismail Al-Faruqi dan sebagainya, yang mana tokoh-tokoh ini sangat menekankan peranan ilmu, kepimpinan dan juga demokrasi dalam pembinaan tamadun. Dan saya percaya perkara ini terserlah daripada usaha Datuk Seri dalam membina Malaysia yang disebut sebagai Malaysia Madani. Dan dalam konteks ini juga Datuk Seri juga pernah memimpin APIM. Dan bagaimana dalam era konteks digital sekarang ini, bagaimana Datuk Seri melihat kesinambungan nilai-nilai ini dalam membentuk mahasiswa yang bukan sahaja berpendidikan tinggi dan berilmu, tapi berjiwa bangsa dan boleh memberikan peran tinggi dalam membina negara bangsa. Dan izin juga saya selit satu cadangan kepada Malaysia Madani, yang mana saya rasakan perkara ini juga merupakan suara-suara mahasiswa. Sebab apa sekarang ini kita lihat kita sudah pun ada inisiatif Fly Siswa yang mana memudahkan pelajar-pelajar dan mahasiswa di Sabah dan juga Sarawak untuk pulang ke rumah masing-masing. Dan cadangan saya sekarang ini agar Fly Siswa ini juga turut diperluaskan sebagai transiswa, yang mana turut juga melibatkan pengangkutan darat, air dan sebagainya, terutamanya kami pelajar-pelajar di Semenanjung dan Rasmi. Dan saya dengar hari ini semua ihsan daripada kerajaan Malaysia untuk mempertimbangkan cadangan ini. Itu saja. Terima kasih.
Lori kan lepas. Dia kata di Semenanjung itu sampan daripada Kelang ke I will have to do it in bilingual because many of you foreign students need to respond in English. Ataupun boleh saya jawab bahasa Melayu semua faham. Anyone who are not able or conversant in bahasa? Oh, I remember. Your fault. Why didn't you learn bahasa? Alright, saya akan respon dulu dalam bahasa, kemudian saya akan summarize dalam bahasa Inggeris. Nah, anyway, terima kasih Nampak Ikuti. Ismail Farki itu merupakan sarjana yang memberikan penekanan khusus kepada apa yang dia sebut sebagai malais untuk umat. Dalam dunia yang penuh pancaroba, kegelapan kerana kedangkalan ilmu, termasuk Islam sendiri. Dalam ilmu sehingga tidak dapat mencapai kejayaan kerana ketandusan pemikiran. Tidak ada keupayaan menerima disiplin baru dan tunduk kepada sistem asing. Tidak ada upaya untuk membina apa yang disebut sebagai kekuatan asli. Jadi beliau kemudian menggagaskan Institut Pemikiran Islam Antarabangsa yang saya juga turut menjadi salah seorang pengasasnya masa saya amat muda sekali. Dan ini kita cuba juga tekankan kalau saya dalam Habib, yaitu menekankan keperluan pencerahan, kesedaran, tumpuan kepada ilmu yang pelbagai. Ada orang salah faham, dia kata ini hanya pendekatan dengan saja Islam terbuka, tak semestinya. Semasa saya muda, karya yang besar seperti Frans Fanon, The Racket of the Earth, dan juga umpamanya karya-karya oleh Iqbal, bukan saja Asrar Ikhudi, Javid Nama, tapi The Reconstruction of Religious Thought Islam. Kemudian Malik bin Nabi, pemikir Algeria, yang bercakap soal kolonosability, maknanya orang merdeka, negara sudah merdeka, intelektualnya hebat, tetapi pemikirannya itu pemikiran terjajah. Dia tidak mampu berfikir luar daripada kerangka pemikiran yang terjajah. Dan ini juga kita dapat lihat kesan di negara kita, di Indonesia. Dia cakap itu semuanya dari teks dan pemikiran yang dirangka oleh orang asing. Ya, kalau ada baik, yang benar, ya, tapi jangan kita merangkap. Nah, ini yang juga dikupas oleh Profesor Hussein Alatas. Beliau disebut captive mind, minda yang terperangkap. Bicara soal ekonomi, bicara soal pembangunan, bicara soal pendidikan, mesti acuannya acuan barat, tidak ada yang lain. Nah, ini masalah. Baik. Jadi perlu, sebab itu perlu pendidikan, pencerahan, penguasaan ilmu. Tapi kalau penguasaan ilmu dengan sikap yang penuh dengan kebencian, tak setuju dia terus kafir, munafik, dan bangkitkan kebencian, tak ke mana. Dia mesti bawa pendedahan ilmu ini dengan apa yang ditekankan dalam prinsip agama kita. Apa dia? Bil hikmah wal mau'izatil hasanah wajadilhum billati hiya ahsan. Dengan bijaksana, dengan perkataan yang baik, dengan menarik orang, bukan dengan menanam kebencian dan menghukum. Baru belajar Islam 2 bulan terus dia boleh hukum orang. Ini problemnya. Jadi sebab itu saya kata pencerahan ilmu itu penting. They were saying that the necessity to acquire knowledge, as I said in the beginning, is not to be enslaved. Enslavement does not mean that you are slaves or you are the colonial subjects, but your trend, scheme of thought is so captive to the others. You don't have the capacity to think anew, to reflect independently. And that's what I referred to our great sociologist Hussein Alatas when he talked about, when he referred to the captive mind in development studies. You talk about development must be a Western concept notion, sometimes completely irrelevant. Our societies differ. Level of understanding development is different. A peculiar problem of the Dayak heartland, the Ibans, and the Malay remote villages, and the estate, the Indian estate workers, or the Chinese squatters are different but be handled wisely. That's what I referred to the need to rethink, reflect intelligently and yet independently, and not to be subjected to a particular prescription suggested by others. This also has relevance to the understanding of Islam. Why is it Islam, which is a religion that promotes ihsan, compassion and rahmatan lil alamin, sometimes understood in a very competitive, rancorous, vicious manner, full of distrust and hatred and divisiveness? There is an apparent contradiction. So it is our duty, therefore, not to be subjected by these so-called scholars, but to have this readiness, capacity to learn and have that wisdom, the acquisition of your knowledge. He made reference to one great scholar, past Ismail Faruqi. Then he, of course, after all that comes that, why not flies his sword? Is it flies his sword and then you talk about sampan? No, I'm joking. I will discuss this with the Minister of Transport. Ayo, susah. Nak pergi mana tak nak perlu bantuan ni? You kata buat paper Semenanjung. Why do we give some preference to Sabah Sarawak? It's expensive, particularly during this festive period, and some of these flights are just atrocious. So we chose, therefore, to support them, at least to deem part of their problems. Now, what you are saying is now, Anwar, as Prime Minister, you want to be loved and appreciated by the young, then please allow them to go back home without having to pay anything. Ayo, karawale. Where am I going to get the money to do this? But if there are specific areas where we can help, we will do. Okay? I can promise you one thing, inshallah, we'll look at it. What we need to do is to make sure that the price is reasonable. People don't exploit and extort at the time. A price, for example, should be 20 ringgit, when it comes before Hari Raya, it becomes 40 ringgit. It doesn't make sense. So I think that sort of regulations may be introduced to curtail this exorbitant increase. Alright? Boleh? Not to happy dancer. Nobody wants to clap. What to do? Yes. Yes.
Yes. Itu sih.
Ya.
Di atas.
Okay, di atas. Okay. Next.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera, salam Malaysia Banani dan salam WIA UNIKL. Bila Datuk Seri, nama saya Muhammad Anas bin Ishaq selaku Presiden UNIKL Student Representative Council 2025, merangkap juga Presiden UNIKL Malaysian Institute of Marine Engineering Technology yang bertempat di rumah. Bila Datuk Seri, seperti yang mana kita boleh lihat, sekarang terdapat banyak pergolakan kuasa yang berlaku di serata dunia. Namun apa yang ingin saya perincikan adalah lebih kepada perubahan ekonomi yang mungkin sekarang kita lihat berubah daripada barat ke negara Asia. Jadi mungkin apakah perancangan daripada pihak kerajaan Datuk Seri sendiri untuk memastikan Malaysia sentiasa berada di tempat yang sentiasa dipandang dan tidak dipinggirkan sebagai mungkin negara kecil namun sentiasa berhati besar. Kemudian Datuk Seri, yang kedua, jika kita ingin meletakkan Malaysia sebagai sebuah negara yang sudah tentu hebat, apakah ciri-ciri yang mungkin Datuk Seri sendiri lihat yang perlu ada di setiap jiwa belia yang berada di Malaysia ini? Kerana pada hemat saya sendiri, untuk melahirkan seorang pemimpin ataupun belia yang produktif, kita perlu berikan mungkin sedikit pendedahan kepada beliau ini, kerana apa yang saya lihat adanya program fellow perdana yang memberikan pendedahan daripada Kementerian Perpaduan sendiri kepada pihak menteri. Namun sekiranya insentif ini turut diberikan kepada pelajar-pelajar juga ataupun belia yang berada di Malaysia sekarang, saya pasti dan percaya bahawa pendedahan yang mungkin sedikit boleh memberikan impak yang tinggi kepada pelajar-pelajar ini untuk terus memaju Malaysia sebagai negara yang unggul di masa akan datang. Itu saja dari saya.
Pertama, soalan bahawa kalau dulunya kuasa besar ketenteraan dan ekonomi itu hanya di barat, mulanya United Kingdom, sekarang Amerika, tapi sekarang nampak keadaan berubah juga dengan perkembangan negara China khususnya. Bagi kita itu suatu perkembangan positif. Malaysia ambil pendekatan seperti mana yang diterima oleh negara-negara ASEAN yang kita sebut keadaan pertengahan, centrality, untuk mengadakan hubungan yang baik dengan semua negara. Dan tentunya kalau tanya negara China itu jiran dan kerjasama yang baik dalam banyak bidang itu tidak menghalang kita untuk terus meningkatkan kerjasama itu, ya. Dan itu pendekatan kita sekarang. Jadi sebab itu sudah lihat, sementara hubungan tradisional kita dengan Amerika dari segi perdagangan dan pelaburan itu tinggi, kita juga memberi penekanan yang sangat kuat kepada negara China dalam berbagai bidang. Apalagi bila pimpinan negara China itu lebih dekat dengan kita. Umpamanya, ya, bulan lalu Presiden Xi Jinping ada di sini. Akhir Mei, Premier Li Qiang akan bersama dengan pemimpin negara teluk GCC dan ASEAN. Jadi dia ambil sikap yang sangat lunak dengan kita. Jadi kita sebagai tamu, tuan rumah, tentunya menerima baik. Jadi kita harus adakan strategi itu, perluaskan dagang dan pelaburan dalam negara lain. Kemudian belia bagaimana yang kita harus pupuk. Seperti yang saya sebut tadi, mestilah menimba ilmu secukupnya, membaca seluasnya, menilai dengan sabar dan bijak. Tidak pantas menghukum dan menghina orang. Malaysia ini negara berbagai kaum, berbagai agama. Islam tetap agama persekutuan. Orang Melayu Bumi Putra tetap majoriti. Dasar-dasar yang termaktub dalam perlembagaan itu kita tetap pertahankan. Tetapi ini bukan alasan untuk kita melihat orang dengan penuh syakwa sangka dan kebencian. Saya lihat kadang-kadang bila dapat laporan daripada media sosial, orang cuba menakutkan, melampau. Ini saya anggap satu tahap yang akan merusakkan kita. Dan saya lebih kesal kalau di antara penyokong-penyokong itu di kalangan orang yang terpelajar. Jadi saya tanya, kamu belajar apa? Profesor kamu ajar apa? Kamu baca buku mana? Mengapa kamu pertahankan kejahilan? Mengapa kamu memuliakan orang yang merendahkan akal budi dan menghina manusia? Nah, itu mesti dijawab. Jadi kita bisa angkat anak-anak muda yang punya daya tahan, mental yang kuat dan cinta negara dengan nilai. Betul, saya kata nilai penting. Dalam keadaan ini nilai sangat penting. Ya, semua orang mau bangun. Saya selalu sebut dalam bidang pendidikan, menggapai langit. Disiplin baru, AI, digital, ya, canggih semua. Tapi jangan lupa, mesti berakar ke bumi. Ya, menggapai langit, tapi berakar ke bumi. Apa yang di bumi itu? Nilai, budaya, akidah, akhlak. Ya. Jadi keduanya dirangkul. Itu menyebabkan kita itu walaqad karramna bani Adam. Barulah bangkit ramah insaniyah. Okey. Nah, tentang fellow perdana dan kemudahan itu kita sedang berbincang tidak semua akan jadi fellow perdana, tapi kita akan bincang supaya dapat pendedahan dalam program latihan di mana kita ada peluang menemui sarjana daripada pelbagai disiplin, pemimpin, menteri, menteri, ya. Dan ini akan sedang diuruskan melalui akademi kenegaraan dan lain-lain. Now, short summary in English. The questions relates to the shift now in terms of power, geopolitical development between the West or the East, United States or China. We take a position of what we call centrality in Malaysia and ASEAN. We engage with all, we befriend all countries, we trade, it's an open trade, it's a trading nation. But the next question is, cumulatively, as I have said, United States still number one in terms of Western trade with Malaysia. But our relation with China is very close, because it is a neighbor. Secondly, the position and attitude taken by the Chinese leadership is not condescending. It has been very friendly and very engaging. And we therefore, as a country, do show our profound appreciation towards them. Then, the next question is about youth. What do you need? What do you expect from youth? I said, number one, you have to acquire knowledge, you have to be patient. I mean, I can understand you have strong views. When I was young, was I patient? Well, not so. But you must represent some ideals. As I said, we represent the conscious majority. We know, we try and find out what is right. We do not condone excesses or corruption. Corruption can be corruption in terms of acquisition of wealth in an illegal manner. Corruption of the mind can be preaching hatred, insulting people, casting aspersions against people of different color or race. That to me is not acceptable. No, the young must then learn to accept the fact, if you want to succeed as a nation, we have to be more inclusive. We want to succeed as a nation, we have to instill the correct values. What is human dignity? What is just? What is fair? But some people say, oh, we have to be fair, we have to grant or accept those who have been relatively very successful, based on purely a merit. I say, yeah, fair, that's partly true. But is that the whole truth? John Rawls, the political economist, said what? What is justice? Justice is fairness. You can't say the best school in the country is Kuala Lumpur and we have to compete with the school in Kapit and Ulu Kelantan. I say, no, merit. There is rational to defend merit, but it has to be fair. I have to view differently. You have the best schools, the best equipment, the best teachers, the best tuition, and you want us to be fair and say just and compete with the most remote among the poorest. The poor, you will increase the gap between the rich and the poor if you do not cater for what is termed as fairness. That's what my affirmative action is necessary. Now, last question on fellow Perdana, a scheme to help to expose the students to some facilities, and we will try to do it through some training programs. There may, I think, 100 people raising their hands. I will probably ask briefly 3 questions and answer one. Yes.
Hello, sir. Good evening, the most honorable Dato' Sri Prime Minister. The last we met was in Stadium Malawati, bringing you to a Taekwondo tournament. Okay? Anyway, my name is Vijay Kumar Jagannathan. I'm a part-time student in Master of Program Management Program at Open University Malaysia, OEM Shah Alam. And I work full-time in the manufacturing sector. Was working in China for 20 years and now I'm in Malaysia since 2025. chosen OEM to start my master's that I left 20 years ago. As someone who both studying and working in project management, I've seen first-hand challenges faced by our industry, especially when it comes to workforce issues. Our sector depends on Okay, the question is, would the government consider reviewing the current policies and foreign work permit extensions and reducing the levy imposed so that we can stay afloat, to stay competitive, and especially in the face of economic recovery? Thank you very much.
You're suggesting that we should bring more foreign workers or less? Huh? Less foreign workers or more? Less, yeah. That's basically the policy now. We need for the plantations, for example, but the other sector we have to reduce substantially. And the total reliance on foreign workers will render us less competitive and slow in automation. And people take things easy. And therefore, I agree with you, we will have to do that. We have started actually limiting. For now, no new workers except to replace the old ones, so for a start. But the problem is we are too rigid, tough, then you can see the palm oil production then started because of the lack of workers. Right?
Hello everyone.
Yeah.
Assalamualaikum.
Salam.
My name is Shayan and I'm from Pakistan. And today I'm representing Asia Pacific University. I'm very glad for having this opportunity. And my question is from Yabda to Siri. With many countries moving away from using US dollars, and I wanted to ask how Malaysia is planning to reduce its reliance on the US dollar, and especially in foreign reserves and trade within the regions of ASEAN countries and global south context. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, incidentally, Prime Minister Sharif called me yesterday. He's due to visit Malaysia on Friday, but due to the tension between India and Pakistan, he is forced to postpone the visit. So I told him that we wish well, we wish India and Pakistan able to resolve the conflict amicably and maintain peace in the region. We condemn, of course, any form of atrocities and terrorism. We have to find out the root cause and who are responsible. Now, on the issue of the dependence on the dollar will remain a very important currency, no question about it. But the total dependence will be at the price. So what Malaysia has done through what is called a Chiang Mai initiative is to encourage the use of local currency in our trade. With Thailand, we have used 20% ringgit and baht. With Indonesia, 20% ringgit and rupiah. And with China, Chinese yuan and also ringgit, 20. But 20% China means this is close to 20 billion. Quite substantial, I can't recall offhand. It's huge because you trade with China. So that is an important beginning. But otherwise, we are still stuck to the dependence on the dollar. But we have taken measures. That's why I say domestic resilience is important. Because by true domestic resilience, the dependence on the foreign currency will be less. But alhamdulillah, at least for now, Malaysian currency is about the best in Asia. It's strengthening, and it's something of a positive sign. Right? Yeah.
Assalamualaikum and good afternoon, Datuk Sri.
Yeah.
My name is Amelia Shafinas, and I am currently taking Bachelor in Liberal Arts, focusing on diplomacy and international relations.
Okay.
Recently, I have just finished my internship in the Permanent Mission of Malaysia to the United Nations in New York City. And I am also a proud student of Management and Science University as well.
How long were you in New York?
I was in New York for a year.
Wow!
And it was proud of me. I was proud to represent Malaysia on the global stage. So alhamdulillah.
Other than the UN, what else do you do?
Basically, I was helping to draft speeches and also help representatives in the youth stage of the United Nations.
Anything interesting you saw in New York?
What?
Anything interesting you saw in New York?
The subway.
Okay, right.
Proceeding to my question, Ya Ahmad Muhammad, Datuk Sri, it has been 4 years since the 5-point consensus have been introduced in ASEAN. And to this day, the Myanmar crisis is still ongoing. And we must be aware of this. And because of this, now that Malaysia is chairing ASEAN under your leadership, how do you think you will enforce these 5-point consensus in ASEAN to help our brothers and sisters in Myanmar? That is my question. Thank you.
Thank you. Why do you choose to ask me difficult questions? I have not had coffee or tea yet. Anyways, it's an issue close to the hearts of ASEAN. For the first time, since I was probably a decade, I went to Bangkok and then the short bilateral meeting with the Prime Minister and also Dr. Thaksin is also to meet for the first time Prime Minister, Senior General Ma Aung Hlaing in the military junta. And then the following morning, I met the Prime Minister of the National Unity Government. So we met both. But because of the 5-point consensus, I then confined myself to discussing the issue of humanitarian assistance. The earthquake was devastating, and Malaysia has opted to assist. First we sent our smart team, then there's a field hospital, there's a military field hospital, now functioning. I just got a note today that asking me whether they should extend a bit more or not. I said, as long as there's ceasefire, we can extend, and they've asked for additional medicine. I said, yes, we can help. Malaysia is not a very rich country, but it is our responsibility to help our friends and neighbors in distress. But we have 2 conditions we have imposed. Both I mentioned to the Prime Minister, Senior General Ma Aung Hlaing, and also the Prime Minister of the National Unity Government. Number 1, observe the ceasefire. Stop the shooting, stop the violence. Both parties. Violent. And now we are also trying to engage the 3rd force. We are neither with the military government nor with the NUG. Again, stop the ceasefire and make sure that humanitarian aid is not discriminated against any group. Both have agreed. 1, ceasefire. Number 2, that assistance should cover all. So that's been done. And just now, about 1:30 someone, I received a call from President Prabowo Subianto of Indonesia, who happens to be meeting former Prime Minister Hun Sen, the President of the National Assembly of Cambodia, and asking me about the development on Myanmar, and suggesting whether they should pursue. I said, of course, all leaders of ASEAN should go and meet these leaders and give the same message. Number 1, ceasefire. Number 2, be more inclusive. And humanitarian assistance should cover everybody. Because the sooner they accept these broad parameters under the 5-point consensus, the better is it for ASEAN. That means you bring them in the fold, into the fold of ASEAN. So that's a position. We hope that there may be some. There is, of course, some very positive development as compared to last year, for example. Now we are able to engage with both. In fact, the 3 parties. And there is ceasefire. The ceasefire is supposed to end 15th of May. I have encouraged them, please extend beyond 15th of May, otherwise our military hospital will pack up and come back. Okay? And inshallah, they will hopefully abide, all parties, but then extend it for another month, and you can stay for another month. Meanwhile, I think I also sought the assistance of both with Thaksin and then now Hun Sen and now President Prabowo to continue to engage, and it becomes like a ASEAN consensus. Right? You want to go on until 6 o'clock today?
Mohon maaf, Dato' Sri. Shall we have the last question for today?
Yeah. Okay. The last 100 questions.
Dato' Sri.
Yeah.
Sebentar Dato' Sri.
Yes.
Saya Ki dari Multimedia Universiti Sarjana.
Yes.
Dato' Sri, saya ingin menjualkan ramai anak muda, terutama mahasiswa-mahasiswi yang ingin terlibat dalam proses pengembangan idea untuk pembangunan negara dan juga mungkin ASEAN, terutamanya Malaysia sebagai pengurusi ASEAN tahun ini. Kami juga berharap kami dapat terlibat dalam proses ini dan untuk memberikan suara-suara kami bagi kerajaan. Saya ingin mencadangkan bagi kerajaan untuk mengadakan sebuah forum atau platform untuk menerima input dan idea dari para mahasiswa, dan kami juga ingin terlibat dalam program-program sebenarnya pengurusian ASEAN tahun ini. Dato' Sri, kami sebagai mahasiswa juga terlibat dengan terjejas dengan bidang sosial hidup, dan kali ini menyebabkan ada mahasiswa yang terjejas dari kewangan dan mengganggu proses pembelajaran mereka. So itu saya mewakili suara-suara mahasiswa untuk mencari pihak yang berhormat untuk pertimbangkan untuk kita mewujudkan bantuan inisiatif pemberian tunai e-dompet atau e-wallet kepada mahasiswa semula, kerana bantuan ini yang diberikan begitu baik untuk membuatkan proses yang terjadi. Saya berharap pihak yang berhormat dapat pertimbangkan cadangan kami ini. Sekian terima kasih.
Jadi cadangan pertama itu saya meminta kepada pendidikan beri ruang bagaimana boleh adakan beberapa kaedah di mana perbincangan dengan wakil-wakil pelajar lebih berkesan. Dan keduanya suara dompet juga dan ditimbang macam mana boleh tambah. Kita tambah banyak juga bagi itu buku untuk dompet dan sebagainya. Saya tak boleh fokus sebab dulu you boleh tengah bercakap orang belakang buat gini. Jadi harus cannot focus. Itu orang belakang macam. Okay, last question. Okay, last. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Lebih baik. Okay, come on. Ya, gaduh.
Dato' Sri. Nama saya Sarah dan saya merupakan pelajar AI dari APU. Dan hari ini saya ingin Datuk Seri, apakah penyumbangan murid-murid seperti saya yang tengah belajar AI boleh buat untuk membantukan dengan kemajuan AI dalam Malaysia?
Sebenarnya tahu AI susah. Salah duduk sebelah saya tak mau turun dah. Okey. Kita telah bagi penekanan tinggi. Kita dah mulakan dengan fakulti AI di UTP dan semua universiti sudah saya tahu menekankan AI, dan saya tanya kerana itu syukuri kerana MSU juga berikan penekanan yang sama. Jadi bagi saya tentu AI itu sangat kritikal. Ini seperti seolah zaman revolusi industri, mesin, kemudian komputer, itu dah jadi suatu pergagasan dan keperluan yang sangat besar. Jadi saya usulkan saudara menguasai bidang itu sangat diperlukan, dan kita kekurangan puluh ribu jurutera dan kepakaran AI. Jadi kalau saudara yang ada kemahiran, potensinya sangat besar. Saya cadangkan supaya tumpu, dan insyaAllah ada masa untuk kita serapkan dalam sistem semua dalam negara kita. Itu yang penting untuk AI. Cuma untuk yang AI ini satu hal yang saya nak sebut. Ya. Saya tanya tokoh pada Setia, Microsoft, Jason, Nvidia. I met them and asked, AI. Sebab AI ini akan memutahkan ilmu yang masuk dan dia hadam dan curahkan semula. Jadi bagaimana penyelesaian? Penyelesaian ialah anak-anak kita harus punya keupayaan untuk mampu memasukkan ilmu ataupun apps supaya mampu bila muntah itu muntah dengan pahaman kita. And this, interesting enough, is also the response of the top world experts. Jason and Satya, Microsoft, and many others, Ruth of Google. In my exchanges with them, that's what they say. Because right now, the AI has, of course, expertise and will formulate ideas based on certain values. So it is important for us to master the knowledge and not just follow through, but also ingenious ways to come up with some other solutions based on our values, our history, our culture. So I think it is a more challenge, not only the technical, scientific expertise, the coding that you're talking about, but it's also imbibing with the correct values, history, culture, the arts of our society. So because after all, it is supposed to be an attempt to replace human views or ingenuity. Jadi itulah sebabnya mengapa saya fikir, saya pasti percaya itu penting kita berikan keutamaan dalam bidang ini, dan saya dah minta umpamanya KPT itu menyelaraskan kegiatan ini dan mendapatkan kekuatan sama ada dari universiti awam atau universiti swasta. Satu perubahan yang kita berlaku sekarang ialah kesediaan kita untuk memilih dan mendapat sumbangan yang tidak terikat. Kalau kita kata penyelidikan atau research, dia tidak hanya terikat kepada universiti awam. Mana saja yang ada keupayaan istimewa, sama ada awam atau swasta yang sedia bekerja sama, mereka harus dirangkul dalam satu kekuatan. So my children, thank you very much. It's a wonderful opportunity. You great. I can see hundreds raising their hands, which means you are quite well educated. Because Confucius was asked once, a person who does not know but refuse to ask a question will remain ignorant forever, as opposed to a person who does not know, which means is ignorant for a short while, ask question, and if the answer is right, then he is therefore not ignorant anymore of the subject. So you can choose to be permanently ignorant or smart. And I thank you very much. I appreciate, salute you students. I must thank the staff, lecturers and professors. You are fortunate, you have good teachers and professors to be able to encourage you to ask questions and be more courageous. Terima kasih. Thank you very much.
Terima kasih sekali kepada Yang Amat Berhormat Datuk Seri di atas kesudian menyempurnakan sesi soal jawab bersama mahasiswa. Sebagai acara penutup, majlis berbesar hati ingin merakamkan gambar kenang-kenangan